In the previous video, we have learned about collections. We built a product listing page and we connected a product listing page with a product detail page, and now our little e-commerce app has started to come into shape. In this video, we'll learn about fragments and we'll see how Fragment helps us with code reusability and decoupling. So let's dive in. So let's understand the problem with this sort of a layout. Currently, if you see, there's a lot of data drilling happening here, right? Every property that needs to show some data needs to access the keys based on this very nested structure, right? And this particular page file is kind of acting as a central data orchestrator for all of the visual elements we are able to see on the page, irrespective of whether that component is reusable or not. There's a lot of coupling here, right? We are very much reliant upon the structure of the collection to pass on individual key properties, visual properties, so that we can show something. This structure isn't very manageable or maintainable. There's a lot of coupling over here, right? Every element that's visible on the page is somewhere picking its own property out of the root collection structure. This won't lead to a lot of flexibility when our application will evolve. What if you start shuffling the product structure? What if you start moving this structure? So there's a lot of data coupling happening over here, and data coupling isn't good for maintainability of a project, right? So let's see how we can get rid of this coupling. We need a way so that every component that we are using, irrespective of where it is in the tree, is able to express its data requirements. That too co-located with the UI that's responsible for rendering the data piece, right? So let's tame this complexity that we are able to see at this point and create a new component called product card. Create a new folder over here, components. There create a new component product card dot svelte. Come inside this page, take all of this, place it over here, create a script block, and then say I need to import GraphQL and Fragment out of Houdini. Once this is done, let's expose a property called product. What we'll do now is we'll go back to the previous page, and there we'll just comment this out and import our product component. Import product card from product card svelte, and there we'll just pass on product card product the product node. So we are passing on the product node property, which has all of the product details. Come back to our product card component. There, let's just say that we need a info, and there we'll use the fragment, and in this fragment we'll pass on the product, and then we'll use the GraphQL function to tell about our fragment, right? So the way we define a fragment is we first say fragment, let's call it product info on which model is going to be product for us, and what are the properties we're going to be using, right? So we need the title, we need the featured image URL, we might need a description also, right? And we need an ID too, right? So type ID, title, featured image URL, and here let's just type this also. Let's import product info and let's just type this as product info. Let's just save this. There's still an error, which is all right right here, but Houdini is able to perfectly generate the product info type, as well as we are able to use the product that was passed as a fragment to kind of extract the ID, title, and featured image with the URL, right? Now just use the info property and replace this, and this will become our ID. This will become our title. Featured image URL. It's all right. And this will again become our title. Save this. We are able to generate the product cards perfectly fine now. Come back to our page and get rid of this. But yeah, so this is how you'll remove dependency on a parent component and facilitate reusability when you are creating components that are somewhere based on the GraphQL data available to you. Now your product card component is totally free. It expresses its own data requirement. Its data dependencies and data requirement is totally independent of how your application evolves. This leads to a lot of flexibility when creating components, because now your components are totally independent of how your application evolves. Now the component level data requirements are fully co-located with the UI elements that are responsible to present it to the users, and thus you get a very cohesive structure. As a result, you get very self-contained components, which leads to a lot of flexibility when working with a GraphQL dataset. In this video, we learned about fragments, which helps us tackle a lot of complexity related to GraphQL query management. In the next video, we'll dive into pagination. See you in my next video. Bye-bye.